Welcome to the Guitar Channel. I am super happy to welcome you a new incredible interview. I am in the middle of the Furch factory in the Czech Republic with Petr Furch himself. Petr, how are you doing today?
Great.
Great.
We have a great tour behind us, a lot of great people here, so it's a really lovely day.
Yeah. So first, you have to teach me how to pronounce correctly your name.
You mean Petr?
No, Petr is kind of easy. Yeah, I'm talking about the other one. Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
So Furch.
Oh my God. Say again.
Furch.
Okay, Furch. So we are not supposed to say Furch or Furch. This is bad.
It's not bad.
Okay. Say again.
Furch.
Okay. I'll try not to destroy it completely. So, Petr, you have to tell me, what was your very first guitar?
My very first guitar.
Yeah.
My personal very first guitar. My first guitar was Furch guitar.
Okay.
For sure. Because at some point when I was probably like 13, 14. Yeah, we had a Furch guitar in house, and I was kind of learning the basics, these 3 chord songs and stuff. That's what I learned on our own guitars. But then the second one, I had actually electric guitar. Okay. It was a non-original Stratocaster, and I asked my father to, I was 15 back then. I wanted the electric guitar because acoustic was not enough for me somehow back then.
Not rock and roll enough. Yeah.
Yes, exactly. So I asked my father to, if he maybe give me as a present, like for a birthday or. Yeah, I think it was birthday. Like, I wanted to have electric guitar, and he freaked out. He was mad at me back then. Said, we are making acoustic guitars, and you will be playing electric. And my sister Alena, she said to my father, "What are you doing? He wants to be, he wants to do the music even more than before. So, and you're just stopping it because of that, electric guitar thinking." So he kind of got stuck with that. He said, "Okay, she's right." So yeah, I got my non-original Stratocaster back then. Okay. I was 15.
And what is the connection you have? I guess it is very special to work with your father, but at what point did you say, okay, this is what I want to do. I want to keep on build this incredible work that my father has started?
It was much longer later then. When I was 21, it was the time when I finished the school, and I was supposed to find some job. Okay. And I asked my father, but at that time I didn't really see my ambition in being a guitar maker. I was a teenager. I wanted to be or I was right after teenage years, and I was thinking about being a musician. I wanted to play. I had a band, but when I got to this job of doing the final setup of the guitars back then, I was doing, I quite quickly started to think like, okay, we could maybe improve this way or this thing, and made it easier for us to do, and so on. So these kind of small ideas I started to kind of find out in myself.
Because of your engineer diploma, you think?
I don't have diploma. Okay. I'm not engineer. I'm a historical furniture maker, but I have engineering mind. Okay. And I realized that at this very point, where I started to really think about, okay, we can improve this, make this different way, and maybe it's going to work better. And my father responded very well to that, to these ideas, and so we try to put this one in production and so on, and when I saw that it's working and it's helping my coworkers and in some way improving guitars, even with a small step, then it became very big, very big driving element for me, to pursue this way of guitar builder.
Why did your father decide to start a guitar brand it was in 1981, right? And because it is such a crowded market with so many American big brand American builders, so why create a brand from nothing?
Well, first thing is that my father also in his in the 70s actually he thought again he would be a musician, like that was his career. That he told me that he saw his future as being a professional musician, but actually market with quality guitars in Czech Republic was not crowded at all. Okay. There was no good there was very little of the good quality guitars on the market, and importing from abroad was extremely difficult because communism, you know, the whole Soviet Union thing, it made it very difficult, and also if you wanted to buy something like from the Western countries, you know, some high-end instrument, it cost you like even actually mid-grade instrument, not a high-end instrument, it cost you like house or car, you know, it was very, very expensive. So he was thinking about building it on his own.
Okay, and just for the local market, basically, at the beginning.
No, it was not for local market because it was illegal to have a market.
Okay, so it was not to market at all.
No, it was for him.
Okay.
The first guitar, or first was actually banjo,
okay.
but the banjo was for him. And then the guitar which he made after, it was also for him. But when he brought it to his guys from the band and showed them, they said, okay, but I want this as well, you know, build it also for me. And so that's how he collected orders. But it was illegal actually to do, you know, to make something and sell it like that. It was illegal. So you could go to jail for it. And so yeah, he had to. If he wanted to build these guitars for his friends, he had to you know, do it kind of in secret after his daytime job. You know, he had to work on guitars in the evening.
So the brand was actually established officially like when the Berlin Wall collapsed in '89, or?
Yeah, in '89, Velvet Revolution, and that was basically where Czech Republic became a free country. So yeah, that was then.
Can you tell us what is for you the DNA of Furch Guitars? You know, what makes a guitar you build here special?
Well, over the years, it actually started in the beginning because my father didn't have any, was not trained like a luthier.
Okay. He's self-taught, completely self-taught?
Well, after some time he had to get the luthier license, so he had to go to school at some point, but his mind, and which is the core of our company even now, is very innovative approach, you know. So he really wanted to understand what is happening in the guitar when you play the string and so on. So the bracing design and you know, the construction, how it's all put together, and you know, the playing, you know, working with preloads to influence the sound and these kind of things was kind of natural for him. And so I would say that the core is. The core of our company is that, or how we are different to many other brands, is that we are very, very innovative, considering how conservative guitar market is. But what we do, we try to somehow implement our innovations so they are not so visible. You know, that's what we like as well.
You must not shock too much the customer, you know, because we are so conservative that we are scared about innovation, right?
So yeah, if you say it's like that, really.
I'm sure
So we are probably doing the right way, that we are covering, but then we have to spend extra time with explaining you that it's actually there.
So let's grab one of the neck, and let's talk a little bit about that specific truss-rod system you have in place.
Yes, that's one of our recent innovations, and so it's a CNR system, composite neck reinforcement. So what we have here, truss rod inside of the guitar neck. Is basically usually very let's say often used, is just a truss rod which is a piece of metal. You see just end of it over here, and basically what happens? You turn this adjustment screw, and then you basically applying certain tension here and here to the on both edges of the or both ends of the truss rod.
Yeah.
And then so that's supposed to change the neck relief or bow of the neck. But the problem, which is quite common for guitars, is that what happens between those 2 points. Basically, you rely very much on the wood, and wood is natural material, so it behaves very unpredictably. So sometimes it can develop certain twist. Sometimes it can develop some like waves or bumps on the fingerboard. You probably know what I'm talking about. So this is something which we were trying to avoid and find a way how to not to have this kind of problem. And so we came with the idea so we can fit this truss rod inside of the carbon pipe.
Okay.
Carbon pipe you see here, and it's actually going all along the way to the end of almost to the headstock. And then when we fitted this truss rod into that carbon pipe and started to turn, we apply its tension to the carbon pipe, and the carbon pipe, because it's very rigid, it bends very smoothly, so it makes very nice it makes very nice relief and smooth relief.
So it makes a nicer shape than a regular metal truss rod.
It doesn't allow to do the bump because it's glued to the wood completely, and it's attached to the wood there, and it's basically forcing the wood to make this very smooth, precise neck relief, which is very good for playability. And also important thing, and very visible maybe here, is the cast element, which is holding the basically the angle of the heel, because it's very rigid. This system is very rigid. Usually in a guitar construction, the heel, because it's wooden, it doesn't have its rigidity. But then you as a manufacturer have to fit a big block inside to hold it all in place, not to bend. But what we have done, we have removed this big block here. The rigid point or structural point is here, hidden inside of the heel, and then
that's why you have to have this to explain. Yeah.
That's right. It's again hidden inside, so we have to show it. But this area is it's actually very light, and the bracing is designed so it can still move and resonate in the body in this area, which is very unusual for a guitar construction.
Yeah, because I learned this morning that on this area the fretboard is not glued to the top, right?
It's not actually glued. Yes, it's not glued. But the main thing is the braces here are actually lighter and designed so they are flexible.
Okay.
They can still move.
And it's a system that is available in all your guitar or just on the top of the line guitar?
No. This is something which we decided to be a core of Furch Guitars.
Okay.
So it's from the Violet series, which is our entry-level guitar. This is inside.
Okay.
So CNR system. And how does it help to a musician? Because this is the most important thing why we have developed it. So basically, as a musician, when you do your setup, you are able to reach more precise setup. That's what usually happens with this system. And then when you reach that setup, when you have found your setup, then it stays in that state for much longer than the common truss rod in the guitars. Okay. And of course, the third thing how it helps, it's basically again the resonance area. It's still active area here. Which is again not so common for guitars. Okay.
Can you grab now one of the table and we can look at the bracing, and maybe you are going to be able to tell us some top secret stuff about the bracing you are using here?
Oh, top secret probably not.
Come on, Petr.
I didn't tell you even during the tour, so I won't
I'm trying again.
But yeah, there are a lot of secrets in this.
Yeah, I know it's
piece.
Dark magic. I know.
It's not dark magic, hopefully. But there is a lot of in it, It's which just you cannot see it from the beginning. It looks quite simple, right? It's a board, then quite simple setup of the braces here. But let's start with the top board itself. So the top board, it works as a membrane of the speaker, actually, in a guitar. So very important part. What we do is what we found out actually years ago is that every piece of wood is can be actually very different. You have a Sitka spruce, AAA quality, you know, it's one category. And in one shipment of this material, you can have various different physical properties of the wood. So it means that it also has the very different sound. If it has a very different physical properties, you get a different sound output. And we were trying to find a way how to make it work, so we have consistent output of our guitars, and so it naturally brought us to the situation that we said, okay, we have to make the tuning individually for every single top. Okay. So we have developed the way how to do it. We have developed tools, measurement tools, and the way how to basically send off different areas of the top, as you can see it here, to the different thicknesses. And this is very important, because in that it actually can really be like that. In the center over here you have 3.2 millimeters thickness. Over here you can have 2.4 millimeters thickness, and here you can have 2.8 millimeters thickness. It's always the result of our measuring, and it's there are certain steps how to get to that point. But this is also what we do on every single guitar, because we found it so important that we just said we have to do it.
But hold on, so the top has not the same thickness all over the surface?
Yes, exactly.
It doesn't have. Okay.
It doesn't have. Okay. And also, if you take, of course, this is for example model GC Yellow, and if you would take another board of GC Yellow, we would most probably find different thickness, because the material which we used for that guitar had a different physical properties, and we wanted to get them, into the certain tolerance which we are looking for.
I thought it was possible to put the top in a machine and to calibrate it to have the same thickness all over the surface. So you're not doing it this way.
No, we're not doing it this way. Okay. Of course, this is what you described is a very common way to do it. It's very simple, and the machine can do it. But we found out that it's just not enough to have the good quality output. So it's you cannot see it here, but there are different areas in a different thickness.
Okay. And so the tuning is done in the bracing. The tuning of the bracing is done individually for each top.
No. Then the bracing pattern we have designed for every body shape. Yeah, every body shape has its own design of the braces. Okay. The thing is that, as I said, it looks quite simple, but sometimes people ask me about if it is possible to reverse engineer this top. So
is it possible to reverse engineer the top?
No, it's not possible. Okay. Well, you would end up with a very basically complete copy, visually very complete copy of that board. But if you put it on the guitar, it would sound different. Okay. Because if you don't know the factors why we have decided to do the thickness here like this and do the thickness here like this, and also if here you, for example, cannot see what was the preload of the brace when we were gluing it on the top. This is also very important to work with preloads in a guitar construction, because it's altering the sound in certain ways, and you can really get much more sound if you play with preloads in the guitars. So reverse engineering, in that case, fortunately for us, impossible.
All right, so it was great. We learned a lot about the bracing. So can you tell me now what was, according to you, the biggest challenge that your company has met, and what is in front of you?
Wow, tough question. It's I don't...
Let's say it was not a smooth ride, right? So
it never is. But that's the thing. I don't consider any challenge which we have. Well, if we overcome the challenge, then of course you don't see it as a big challenge anymore. And so, but yeah, there were quite a few things. For example, finish. Yeah, developing our own finish was a big thing, because we were, for years we were not able to kind of push it through and really finish the project. And but at some point I said we have to do it, and I put a lot of my energy into it, and we were then able to make it happen. And I know it was a big thing for us. And so this is technical thing. Then of course you have the business thing, and you know how to you know, explain, for example, to your customers what's special about your guitars. This is the challenge for now, because we have been working on our guitars for a long time, but I realized at some point that well, we should also tell somebody about us. And so this is also a challenge which we have overcome, and certain up to a certain degree, and we will be working on it and there were difficult times, you know, like if some distribution, which is very important for us, you know, maybe 15 years ago it happened to us that it dropped down, you know, bankrupted.
Okay, so you have to rebuild everything.
We have to, you know, now 40% of your production is now basically you cannot sell it because you don't have a customer for it. These kind of things, we've been through. Especially in my father's time, he had to go through a lot of difficult stuff, but we survived, we definitely do much more to survive in the future as well.
I sure hope so. And you have made the decision that to keep 100% of your production here. You're not doing anything, you know, the lower model, lower price model elsewhere. Everything is done here in Czech Republic.
Yes, everything is done here, and it's actually the strategy which is like a long-term thing for us. You know, because me being a technical guy, I know how difficult it is to control something, you know, for a long distance. Even here, which it's the factory is my village. I live just, you know, 1 kilometer away from here. I can be here very quickly, and so the reaction can be very, very fast. But still, it's I see how difficult it is, and to keep the quality on that level, and so, you know, just when I was thinking about, okay, how would it work to have the company somewhere, you know, on different part of Europe or different part of the world, I just don't feel this would be the right way. For our guitars, definitely not.
I saw on your Facebook page that you recently had the visit of Bob Taylor from Taylor Guitars. It must have been quite something to have him coming to the factory.
Oh yeah, definitely. I'm really happy that Bob stopped by, because it was first time I met him. I haven't had a chance to meet him before. You know, Bob Taylor was actually one of my inspirations in the times where I was starting with guitars. I was learning actually what this business is about, and I always liked many ways how he approached to the guitar building, especially not to be afraid about telling people about the technology they were using, because that's what we do right now, and we also telling people that we are using that, or I should say that we are using sort of like a symbiosis between technology and hand production, and it's very good for the guitar. So he broke this kind of old concept of handmade, and definitely he made by this he made the room for us as well. So I was very happy to see him around, and I'm also happy that he was quite surprised what he has been able to see here.
Did he give you some advice?
We were exchanged many ideas. Yeah. Because I can guess that he's also like a technical guy, so we had a lot of common topics, let's say.
I'm sure. So you have just now opened a showroom here in the factory, and I saw that you have some of the old instruments that your father built. So there is a beautiful archtop, a gypsy jazz guitar, and so on. Do you think at one point Furch Guitar is going to go in other kind of instrument? I don't know, electric guitar, archtop, manouche again, or?
We keep our minds open to that, yeah. But it's in a short term we don't plan anything like that.
Yeah. Okay. Do you think it's possible for you to see where you're going to be in 10 years?
No. Not where I'm going to be, I don't know. But where we would like to be. Let's say we don't have typical like a financial goals or something like that. We have more like ideals to follow, and so I would really like to see like more of our guitars into hands of more people. Surely it means that we would have to build more guitars and explain more about what we are doing. But so far, we just get the great responses from our customers who had a chance to visit us here or had a chance to play our guitars, and I'm really happy about the responses we getting from our customers, and it kind of tells me that we are on the right way. So basically we continue this way, and we will see where it will bring us. Yeah.
Well, I'm going to tell you a story because in April I was in Japan to cover a show called the Soundmesse in Osaka, and there was this huge Furch booth, there, and so I was kind of surprised to see a European brand to be that present in Japan. So you must be doing something right, definitely.
Japan.
Congratulations. Yeah.
Thank you very much. Japan is actually a good market for us very much because Japanese market, it's not so much about brand. They don't need famous brand. They need quality behind the product, and this was always our strongest suit. So we actually are quite strong in Japan for a long time, and I'm glad that you noticed. Yeah.
Do you have any problem regarding all the CITES regulation around wood?
For a manufacturer, it's a not so big problem, I would say, because in what it means for us is when we are importing the wood, or if we are exporting the guitar from EU or in EU, we have to basically ask for permission, export permit or import permit, depends what we are doing, and for us we are actually importing loads of wood, so it's a big shipment, and we
you don't use local wood at all from Europe?
Just a little bit. Alpine spruce we use, and but that's pretty much it as a tone wood. But we don't. So we have to have a permit to import our shipment of Indian rosewood, for example, and we need one permit, and of course there is some sort of administrative work, but it's not that big. If we export guitars, then it's also means that we have to just one paper, and this goes with the shipment. But where it gets difficult, it's for shops. And because if you want to export just one guitar outside EU or import one guitar inside EU, you still have to have the same paperwork. You have to go to same administrative, work, and you have to pay the same fee as we have to pay for 100 guitars. So this is I think where it gets difficult. That's what. Probably could be solved somehow better, but in general, I must say that I'm not. Let's say I believe that it's actually a good step to have the control over this like a wood trade, because you have a lot of black trade, and it's very difficult to find out if something is really like ethically harvested and so on. It's so I think to have more control over who's trading with what, it's an essential step to to really regain the sustainable harvesting of the wood. So That's my opinion.
Yeah, okay. Petr, thank you very much for your time. It was great to be able to be here to do a full tour visit, so it was a blast, and I wish you all the best for the rest of the adventure. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much for coming.
Bye-bye.